Hey everyone, what's up? It's Michael from Starteryou back again with another live stream, and we got another great guest speaker here today. His name is Victor. Let me just adjust the microphone audio a little bit. And he's the CEO and founder of Hend, and they're a gamified productivity platform helping students stay focused and achieve more. I don't want to give away too much. Victor will talk a lot about it. And he's also a student, so it's great because we're always trying to find student founders. So he's still in school, and he's interned at YC startups and a bunch of other things, which he'll definitely talk about. But without further ado, let's get into our next guest speaker live stream with Victor. All right, we are up. How you doing, Victor?
I am doing awesome. Thanks for having me on the show, Michael.
Yeah, of course. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's start. Talk. I always do origin first. What was kind of the first spark for Hen? Was it built out of personal need or something you noticed at your school? What was kind of the origin story there?
Well, mostly personal need actually. Because during the pandemic, I was this is like a really old issue that I had was during the pandemic. I really had trouble focusing, especially when everyone was in their rooms,
Yeah.
stuck in their rooms, and essentially back then I was also a big fan of video games. So I was just playing video games every day. And then after a couple of years, fast forward to last year, when I came back from Harvard summer school. Of course, at that time, I was really intrigued, and there was a bunch of amazing entrepreneurs. I was connected and got to know a lot of these amazing innovation leaders there at Boston. So I was really like, hey, I really want to be more involved in this. And I just got to thinking, and I realized of this giant issue, which is that there's so many distractions in the 21st century, right? We have social media, short form videos, and video games, right? And I know this has probably been brought up a lot by either scholars or academia, but they are kind of essentially destroying our attention span for the newer generations, for Gen Z, Gen A's. They're destroying our dopamine receptors, and it's really making us harder to focus. And I felt that was the exact same issue I had during the pandemic. So, which is why I felt like, hey, this was a perfect situation for me to kind of combat this issue. It's an issue that I was personally faced with. It's something that I want to solve myself. And that's kind of the idea of how a hand got started in the first place.
And I completely agree with that about that short form content and how people's attention span are being killed. Yeah, I mean, I recently uninstalled all my social media just when I graduated college because I realized how much
Mhm.
we have stuff for Starteryou, but I just couldn't do it for myself because I realized how much time I was wasting. It's
Totally.
unbelievable. Nowadays, it's probably the worst it's ever been. And I know you mentioned Harvard School and things like that. How did getting involved in some of those academic programs and competitions, because you were in your debate too, right? You're big in debate. How do those things kind of
Mhm.
shape your mindset as a founder?
Well, thanks for asking. My involvement with a lot of these programs and in extracurriculars like debate, it's hard to like pinpoint what exactly it does for me, but I feel like it's more like holistically, as a person that affects me, right? Like every time I attend a program or like a startup, like Vancouver has our web summit for entrepreneurship, or like do a debate tournament. It's a lot of stuff that I learned from it. So being connected and learning from all of these other people that are at the same event, well, like-minded people, as well as learning from the materials, of course. Um, but it's hard to really pinpoint a specific thing. More so that holistically, it just makes me more knowledgeable, and it helps me become a better person afterwards. Either you're talking about an entrepreneur or just someone with a better mentality coming out of a hard challenge. Yeah.
And what's probably been your favorite program that you did so far and the most impactful one?
Ooh, the most impactful one is my favorite is definitely Harvard Summer School, in my opinion. And it was just really awesome. It was my first time in Boston, and last year, so that was just a great experience overall.
Nice.
But I really have to thank Mike Grananti, which is who was my professor there at Harvard Summer School. He's a really, really knowledgeable person. He helped me a lot. And he actually helped a lot of his students connect us with a lot of startups there. So helped me also get to know more about the startup culture and startups there at Boston. Yeah.
Is that how you found the startup you interned at, the YC one?
No, the YC Y Combinator startup that I'm working at right now is a part of the HUTVSP program. So they're Rove, yeah,
Never heard of that. Um,
yeah, they're pretty new. They were in the YC Winter 24 batch, so a bit of a newer startup.
and I definitely want to hear about that. Kind of, what's your experience been interning there, and what were some of the big takeaways so far?
Yeah, definitely. So my big takeaway is definitely that working with a lot of these YC startups, they are not a lot, but I guess it's my first time, so I can't really say anything else. But working with them, very detail oriented, so that's kind of tricky in some senses, especially when sometimes I feel like something can just be glossed over, but sometimes they prefer more details on some stuff. I mostly help them do growth and some marketing strategies. So a lot of growth ideas on how they can expand and do better customer acquisition. That's mainly my role there. And yeah, the main takeaway is just that they're a lot more detail oriented and it's just really fast. So like
Very
one day we
fast
could be
paced.
talking about this one program, the other day they already launched it in like the
It's
fourth
insane.
program. So
Yeah.
super fast. Yeah. Mhm.
And I was gonna say, have you taken any things that you learned from there and put it into Hend and your company?
Yeah, definitely. Most importantly, probably just the way that we look at things. So sometimes when you look at a company from an outsider's perspective versus looking at a company being a founder, you really
Yeah.
notice different things because as a founder, you kind of fall in love with your own thing. So it's hard to sometimes see the cracks or the little mistakes that you make or what a consumer think that has absolutely nothing to do with you or that like knows about you for the first time. So it really changed my thinking of how I can look at Hend from a consumer's perspective better rather than sticking with a founder's perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, and also you being a student, kind of what's the hardest part been while trying to balance being a student and also trying to start a company? Because I know I started my company when I was still in college, and now that I'm out of school, I have so much more time. I can do so much more. It's a lot easier. So how did you take that path?
Um. Well, it's definitely a tricky journey. So we got very we were very fortunate that our founding team is really dedicated students like me. Our founding team is me with a classmate of mine also in high school and a university student as well. So
Nice.
we were all super dedicated to the idea, which allowed us to really take like every hour outside of school or work or like necessities to put into the end, right? So it's basically our second life, if you want to say it like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm really lucky that our team was able to kind of do it this way. And I feel like that's the only reason why we were able to accomplish these things because, like I said, startups are fast. If we're not fast, we're going to get out competed. We're going to get out dominated in the market share combat. And
All about
it's a
speed.
lot of decision making process. Yeah, sorry.
It's all about speed. Yeah, you're right. 100%.
Totally all about speed. Mhm. And yeah, and like you said, it's really hard. I think you um kind of just find ways to just find cracks in your time to work on the company.
Yeah.
Like if you're on a car ride, I just pull out my laptop and start working. And some people just looking at me like, dude, what are you doing? Just chill. It's a 10-minute car ride. I'm like, yo, I just gotta send out this email really quick. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so wait, I want to better understand your founding team. What is it? What does the structure look like? Who's on tech side? Who's on the business side? How big is it?
Sure thing. So I'm the CEO of Hend. I idealized the company and the solution that we're trying to solve for this problem. And we have two co-founders. First is Jerry. He is a classmate of mine. He is in charge of operations. And our third co-founder is Adam. He's in university in Carleton University in Ottawa in Canada, and he is a CS major, so he does all of our tech side development. And yeah, and he's a great guy. Yeah, he basically built all of our stuff from the start. We actually found him on the Y Combinator co-founder matching
Yeah, I was
platform.
gonna
Yeah,
say.
you definitely know it. Yeah, it's I mean, for anyone listening, it's actually a great place to find co-founders. That was like my number one issue when I was trying to start a company, right? It's like the first issue is like, what company am I starting? You know, what is the thing I'm trying to solve? What's the problem I'm trying to combat? Second is like, how do I find co-founders? And it's
Yep.
that's a great it's a yeah, it's giant help from YC there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was fortunate enough to find both of my co-founders at the school I went to, but I heard that platform was really good. I've never seen someone actually match from it, but you're the first person, so there's living proof right there.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it did take us like about 20-ish days until we actually because we
wow.
talked to like yeah, like it was I talked to like 20-ish people before we finalized our VAD and we're like, hey, you know, we matched a vibe, they believe in our vision. And I guess this might be a little bit off topic, but a big issue we have trying to find a co-founder there is kind of the age, right? Because I'm still 17,
Yeah,
Jerry's 17, and a lot of times when we're trying to get talk to these people, they're either like in university and just don't think we're qualified enough, even with my background in
they don't take you
entrepreneurship and other
serious.
extra. Yeah, and they just don't feel like you guys are just kids, right? They don't feel like together with us, so it might have made our journey to find a third co-founder a bit more difficult than maybe the average person.
Yeah, because I was gonna say he's in charge. I just saw your new front end that got pushed recently. It looked really nice, so I'm guessing that's all he's
Thanks.
doing.
Yeah, I mean we he doesn't do explicit. He helps with UI design, but he hates UI design. So we have our team of interns who helps us mainly with the UI design.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many interns do you guys have?
Right now our team is we have like 16 people with 3 founders, like 13 interns. Uh-huh.
Um, okay, let's shift the topic a little bit. Because I know you're big in speaking and debate, and did you do TEDx as well?
Yeah, I gave a 3 TEDx speeches.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay, so I definitely want to hear about that. Tell me all about that.
Yeah, sure thing. So they were all associated with high schools around my area. So they were like, student-led events that's from TEDx, but of course they're still TEDx events.
Yeah.
And before I did my first TEDx talk, I was already pretty accomplished in debate and public speaking. So I had some qualifications to kind of apply for a speaker position there at my first, and then I mainly just at that I believe the first talk I did was mostly about business because that was the main thing I wanted to talk about back then.
Yeah.
But the second and third talks, my topics were more focused on a mentality because I feel like that is more important and more for everyone, not just business that is specific. And it's mainly focused on the growth mentality, the belief that you can be better 1% basically than yourself yesterday, and if you just keep on doing that, you just continue to get better. And as well as I personally really believe in manifesting. I don't know if you've heard about that, but a lot of the successful people that I've talked to that I know, they all really believe in manifesting their own success. So they think about,
Interesting.
I am going to be winning this, I am going to be dominating, I'm going to be success. And then it kind of like helps you one, it helps you subconsciously think what I need to do to get there. But two, it just makes you more confident in the times where you are like not sure if you want to take a risk or not. So it kind of pushes you over. So that was the second and third TEDx talks that I've done. But overall, it was pretty fun. The talks were just around 10 minutes. I believe you can find it on YouTube. I have to double check because sometimes I think some of my talks they uploaded to the TEDx channel, but some didn't. The
Uh,
first one, they had a technical issue, so there's like no recording of it besides like a phone recording from my parents, which is really sad. But I
yeah, that
think the
sucks.
second and third one is completely, yeah. I think they might have uploaded it to you, or else it's just on the TEDx website. It's one of the two. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a look. I'm just taking note to check it out. Okay, so yeah, and I also wanted to ask how it kind of shaped you as building confidence in public speaking and leadership. Do you think stuff like that helps, and do you think other people should be encouraged to go speak
100%.
at events and things like
100%.
that?
100%. I
Yeah.
think public speaking or debate is one of the best skills you can like learn and one of the best things you can be good at.
Yep.
It's like one of those soft skills that like everyone kind of takes for granted, but nobody really realizes the importance of it until you really see someone with like good speaking skills versus someone who can't really speak confidently. And it's a really drastic cough, and it kind of like helps you in every single way. Like it doesn't matter if you're a business person, if you're like medical, if you're like science, if you're computer science, coding, technical. It really helps you with everything because you need to interact with other people in order to like do whatever you're doing, right? And the more like experience or more qualified you get, the more people you need to talk to. So it's kind of like a cycle where it's like if you talk well, you get in a higher position where you have to talk to more people, and that makes you talk even better. So, and the second is just to really boost your confidence because it makes you not be afraid of essentially anything. So I used to be quite introverted back when I was in middle school, and after I picked up speech and debate, I really changed my personality around essentially. And it really is that kind of change where it's like, hey, like you've won this debate tournament. Why are you scared of talking to like these two people like in the
Yeah.
cafe, right? So it's like it kind of is like that shift and that kind of clicks in your head. You're like, yeah, you're right. Like, I can do this. And then it makes you open up to so many more opportunities that weren't existing.
I mean, yeah, you're preaching to a choir here. I absolutely love public speaking. I think everyone should try to find ways, like something like
Totally.
this, where it's a lot more chill and laid back, but it still gets you out of your shell and it gets you talking about something you already know. I'm not quizzing you on something new. I'm quizzing you about something you've been spending a year or more, developing, working on. It's a passion of yours. This should just be something super easy and chill for you. So yeah, and
Totally.
I did public speaking in college too. We have a
Oh,
question.
wow.
Yeah, I did it all. I ran business administration club where we brought in guest speakers. So people who
Mhm.
were in the business world. It's like this almost, except not students. I would bring in actual experienced professionals from different companies. But yeah, I love it so much. And someone's asking, what are some ways to
Definitely.
get started in public speaking with no prior experience? Because I guess to find opportunities might be kind of hard. But you got any advice?
I do agree. It's kind of hard to kind of get started with it. Advice is there is a lot of free material available online. So if you go on YouTube and just search like some really famous speeches or just debate rounds, when I first started debating, that is what I do, and a lot of my people from a lot of my friends from debate also do this. Is that they kind of just copy someone with a really good speaking style. So I know a friend who copied Winston Churchill. His speech where it's
Yep.
like we will attack them. It's like this really famous speech. He copied that speech, and you can kind of see how he uses that in his own way of speaking, and that made him from a completely beginner to sounding like someone who knows at least a little bit about public speaking in just like a week or so. But on a more practical note, I guess if you really want to like attend some of these like events, I would highly suggest like Model UN. I feel like Model UN is a more accessible and easier to learn, beginner friendly like way or competition compared to debate. Because debate, a lot of people they've been doing it since like middle school. They are highly technical. You see people like speaking like Eminem, like 800, like 600 word per minute. It's insane. And you have some just like completely new person who wants to get better at public speaking, right? And it's just not a good match. So Model UN is a bit more beginner friendly. I feel like it's also more fun. It's less competitive than debate, and usually you get to spend 2 days at a hotel and it has like a bunch of complimentary events, which is just really fun overall. I know they exist in high school, middle school, sometimes middle school. I know colleges also do them. Definitely recommend that event for anyone who wants to just who's a beginner who wants to get more involved or get better at speaking. That's it.
And I'm sure most schools have clubs, right? I'm sure you guys had a debate team
Mhm.
or debate club or some other public speaking club.
Yeah, we have a Model UN club, and I run our school's debate club. Yeah,
Nice. And even if your school doesn't, it's a good thing you could start clubs. So there you go, start it up.
totally. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to think of other more practical, like lower. Also, another thing is obviously watching TEDx speeches or TED speeches in general. I think those are
Totally, totally.
really, really good resource. And honestly, even Shark Tank, I love watching Shark Tank pitches, and because that's way different because they're business pitches and it's public speaking in front of investors. It's obviously scripted or somewhat, set up and
Mhm.
staged, but you still really get a good sense about how people talk about companies and you learn a lot of terms about investments and equity and royalties and all of these things. So Shark Tank and TEDx are really good on the business side.
I agree with that.
All right, let's shift it now. Now
Just
I
to
want
be
to bring it back to Hend. So like dumb it down. Explain what Hend is. What's the point, and what's the problem it's solving?
really simple. Hend is just a productivity platform made to feel like a video game. I guess that's the best way you can put it. When we started Hend, we kind of had a more generic idea of like a networking platform combined with resources. But as we started developing that idea, we realized there was a lot of similar apps, and there was basically no way to differentiate ourselves because it's the same thing. It's an app with resource database plus like the networking. And another issue we had was because we had hard time acquiring users in the weeks of launch,
Yeah,
really defeats our whole like social network aspect of the app because you don't have anyone to talk to, which doesn't make it's like when you join a social network, you want it to be alive. When people join us, it's dead, which makes them dead, which is just a negative cycle. So nobody is not going to get active ever. Um, which we also, the differentiation issue, we just decided to pivot into something else to solve the idea, of like how to make students more focused. And we feel like video games and video gamification is the best way to do that. We are unique as far as I know on the market with no similar apps. There is a lot of apps with like sorts of gamifications, but they're not exactly like full on games. They're like Duolingo has like the
probably the
streaks.
best example.
Um, yeah, that's probably the best example that most people know, but that's like one tiny feature, right? And it's still a language learning app as a whole. Maybe the streaks is like 5% of it.
Yeah.
What our idea was, we make a productivity platform, but make it feel exactly as if you're doing like a video game. And then we build a community around that afterward. So, for example, we do have like still have the resource databases and stuff, but now they're gamified. So you get rewarded for posting on there. You get rewarded for like applying to stuff. We have a whole reward system for your levels. So you get levels by studying in our study room. And we have leaderboards, which ranks people based on a rank that we're going to give them, but we haven't implemented that at the moment. And a lot of basically your favorite video game features are going to be incorporated either now or in a future update. If you go onto our app right now, it's still the old version because we're still developing this kind of change. I guess 1.0 launch, if you want to call it,
Yeah.
as of now. And we're thinking if we're going to do this relaunch in about 2 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, has kind of Discord helped you guys come up with ideas? Because I feel like Discord has a really big gamified process,
Mm.
or
Discord was a big inspiration, and we did take like when we were talking about a lot of the personal customization aspects, we were referring to a lot of the stuff Discord has. And I mean, they did do a really good job, right? It is pretty fun to use Discord compared to like another app. And yeah, definitely a big inspiration. But we are trying to take what Discord has and make it even better in a sense.
yeah, well, you're geared towards like students because you have things like study
Mhm.
rooms, right? And yeah, you're not focused on gaming. I feel like Discord
Yeah,
is a place
definitely.
to game. That's what
We
they're
are
trying
also
to be.
thinking. Yeah, we are also thinking of targeting more than students in the future because the only thing that makes us more student based is our community or research databases. And what we're thinking in the future that this could be practically used by anyone who wants to focus, right? So in our
Yeah.
business plan, right now we're on a B2C version, but we are totally thinking that this could be something licensed to B2B. So something that we could sell to other companies who want to track their like internal productivity or makes their workers more productive, or even just like what you guys are doing at Starteryou. It could be entirely something B2S as well, where a school kind of has their own version, and students can be more incentivized. We can customize it for like school specific leaderboards, school specific competitions, and essentially make this entire study process very gamified.
That's really cool. And you already have users, right? So I'm wondering, have you guys learned anything yet from any
Yeah.
feedback? Yeah, how's that been?
The user feedback was the main reason why we pivoted so hard. Because most of the users coming onto our MVP was saying that we're only there for the study room, and that's what we
Wow.
decided to double down on.
Was there anything that they said they didn't like, or they were saying, it's just they're not interested in using that feature?
Um,
Like things you
Not
scratched?
necessarily, but I did get some feedback on the design, which is that it was way too corporate looking.
Yeah.
Because when we built our MVP, we kind of took a LinkedIn as an inspiration.
Oh
So
yeah,
it
no.
kind of makes
Yeah, you're
sense that
dealing with
it's
younger kids and students.
yeah, that was a bad design choice at the start. Now looking back,
Yeah, that's really interesting that you guys took the corporate route.
Mhm.
And that's why user feedback is so important.
Totally.
So are you guys mainly focused for community driven things? Like you don't really want people to be independent on the site, or you don't really care?
It's we want to kind of have things to go for if like alone or if you want to be a law community. So both ways, I guess, not essentially one over the other.
Yeah.
Because we want, of course, the one person to have a really good experience using our app, regardless if they are involved in the community. But also, we believe in the long run, the community is the reason why they stay on the app. So it's kind of like a short term versus long term. We don't want to give up either one. Um, because from our research, a big reason why a lot of people stay on apps is because of the community they've established, the familiar faces, and especially for something like a video game, it's like leaderboards or like chats and stuff like that, right? And what we're thinking actually, so after our 1.0 launch, we're going to do a 1.1 gamification update to add even more gamification features. And in there, we're going to add like haven't finalized on the name yet, but it's going to be like a guild or clan system. So you can join groups of people to kind of form like own study groups, study communities, and we're going to let them compete against each other. Yeah. So essentially, in the long run, like I said, that's what keeps you here. But if you're using it for just today, that's we want them
Fun.
to have the best UX. Yeah, they have the best user experience. We want the study rooms itself to be really fun to use and good experience overall. Yeah.
I really like that clan idea. Is there anything else like this in the space? Because I know. Have you heard
No,
of
there
WAP?
isn't, which is why, yeah, I was surprised. I feel like it's because a lot of the companies that are established, they don't want to fully go into the gamification idea, and a lot of the startups, they're not like at our like progress as far as we have. We're just didn't share the same ideas. So right now we're particularly unique in the space, which I think a big pro.
Yeah, I would say you guys are in kind of a niche. Huh, kind of think. Have you heard of WAP before?
WAP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they're the video creation, right? They get UGC for companies or content
yeah,
creators.
I think they're like a marketplace too. They integrate with Discord too, and
Yeah,
it's kind.
they
I've
they
been in
do a pretty good
communities.
job of making it gamified. I think you earn like coins or something after the tasks. You can exchange
Really?
that for like, real money. Yeah,
Huh.
and their platform is just pretty well built. It looks like a gamified platform as a whole.
Are you guys gonna have almost every aspect of the site gamified, or just kind of you don't want to overdo the feature too much?
I think nearly every aspect. I feel like the least gamified stuff is just going to be like a chat room resource database because that's just itself is the feature, so there's not really any too much need to make that more gamified. So besides those two, I think everything else is going to be going to the gamification pathway.
And what about video and texting? Is there that on the site too, messaging and video, or you don't want to do that?
So for our 1.0 launch, we're gonna disable like any direct access or chat rooms or videos. That's what we have for our MVP. But we also realized from user feedback that nobody was really using it. The second thing was video. We realized that most people were just joining, but they don't really want to show their face because, of course, it's like all like strangers on the internet. So
Same.
yeah, there's like one person, and the costs for having video transmission on the server is quite significant. So just like let's just scrap that, just go voice only.
So what's kind of like your long-term vision for this? What do you want it to be? What's the big future vision?
The big version is, I mean, it's kind of the slogan I've been saying for a couple weeks, but it's just we kind of want to change how people perceive education for the next decade, essentially. We really believe that gamification is the best way for students to learn on their own time and to be productive on your own time as well. So, um, we really believe how, like let's say 50 years ago, right? We had the first computer ever invented, used by like the US military and NASA, right?
Yep.
50 years now, we're calling on computers, right? 50 years ago, kids were sitting in a classroom listening to a teacher, and now they're still doing the exact same thing, which is just, I feel like some things should change. So I really feel like we are going to transform how people be productive and learn things outside of a classroom. Yeah.
And how do you guys kind of figure out the balance between fun and productivity, or like them actually needing to focus versus them actually just having a good time on the platform and getting distracted? How do you guys
Well,
find that
of
balance?
course, yeah, of course, everything that drives the gamification, like if you want to earn levels, get rewards, is from the study room. So of course, it's like, hey, you have to earn, XP for we. Our system was you earn 5 XP for every 5 minutes you study. So of course, you have to spend time to study, which then gives you the things you have to like access these other gamification. Yeah,
So it's like Duolingo. Okay, so they're probably the best
kind of like
example.
in that sense, yeah, in that sense, similar.
As I say, I'm surprised more. Like I'm trying to think of other examples. I can't think of
And
anything
there
else.
isn't. It's like it's something like I feel like something should like this should have been made, but it's not. Which is why I feel like we have such a great opportunity to build it.
And you guys are moving fast too. Yeah,
Mhm.
it really is perfect time because I think that's going to become big because we'll probably. I think if you're gearing something towards students, you should have some sort of a gamification process. Like we'll probably do something where they
Totally.
get rewarded if they apply to jobs or something like that. Some sort of reward system. Just because it's why not just add it in because it encourages and incentivizes them to want to stay on the platform, and maybe they earn other rewards because we can give away other things on the site if they complete
Mhm.
or if they land a job or land an internship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Well, yeah.
was talking with the director for I forgot the company, but it was um yeah, I was the Youth Innovation Challenge, Youth Impact Challenge. They're like a pretty big, like, nonprofit in Canada. I was talking with their director a couple weeks ago, and he was mentioning how I was talking to him about hemp, right? And he mentioned how he actually had a similar vision with that, and he showed me like this taking down website. And the reason they failed mainly was because of logistics, because their rewards, instead of being like virtual rewards like customization or levels, they were doing like merch. So
Oh,
in the
that's got
end,
to be so
yeah,
hard to keep
yeah,
track
so
and
like when they had like 100 users, it was all fine, right? It was like five t-shirts or something like that. But once it scaled, they turned from a software company to like a manufacturing plus like supply chain company because they
that's
have to
insane.
handle the logistics of merch. And it was like, yeah, that's the reason they failed. But what he said was like, yeah, like our approach on these virtual rewards instead of like physical
Much
was
better.
great. and we don't have that issue yet, and it's probably going to be more successful in that regard.
Because that was my main concern. Even the virtual stuff, I feel like trying to keep track and trying to figure out that many different ways to gamify every single feature, or trying to figure out new rewards for all these students. I mean, you need to come up with a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity and brainstorming.
Totally.
Yeah. How do you guys go about that process of trying to figure out, what like the clan idea almost? How do you guys figure out new ideas?
Well, um, I mean, I guess to say it this way, we are all pretty familiar with video games. So the clan idea, we were with some of our interns, and I believe it was one of our interns' idea actually. They were, do you know, like Clash Royale, Clash of Clans? Yeah, and they were like, why don't we add that? And we were like, that's a great idea.
Okay, so from
So I
video
mean,
games.
yeah,
That's
basically
smart.
just take them from video games, because video games have been in their industry has been established for like 30, 40 years. We're just taking it from them, from what works in the industry, right? If like these things like a battle pass, if it's in every single major AAA video game, then it must be doing something right. So why don't we just take that idea, right? We don't need to go out of our way to figure out what games are the best games, instead of just take from popular.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now I'm understanding. Okay, so now I understand the clan idea. Yeah. Oh shoot, what was I about to say? Yeah, no, taking it from the video games is really smart, and it makes sense because their audience is the same as your
It's
audience.
the same audience, yeah, because like I don't know like a single student who doesn't play some sort of video game, right? Even like
Has played something.
like your grandpa probably plays like Candy Crush or something, and that's
Mobile
a game
games,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, like video games are so widespread, especially in like Gen Z and Gen A, which is our target consumers. So we're just taking what they like from their favorite video games and putting on their favorite productivity app.
And have you guys looked into funding yet, or what have you guys been doing? Bootstrapping
Yeah,
it?
I was gonna talk about that if you weren't gonna
Yeah.
ask. So we've already raised from friends and family all the way when we started this, when we got our founding team together.
Wow,
So
really
right now
early.
right now we are raising a pre-seed. So yesterday I actually spent the whole day talking to this private investor's like investment scout, essentially, that he's responsible for all this guy's investments. And we're just like talking about it. And they were interested, but we have to see the final word on that. We're raising a pre-seed of 175,000 for safe. So simple agreement for future equity. So no
Yep.
like hard number. But if it's if they really want a hard number, we are also willing to do like priced rounds, or like mix of safe plus like direct equity purchase. Yeah, I mean, so far we've applied to some VCs. I guess apply, or maybe, yeah, I think apply is the right word. Apply or request funding from VCs.
I feel like those are
They've
such
been
dead ends. What do you think?
dead ends. Yeah, I think VC is just like cold emails. It's just like a numbers game, just like sales essentially. Of course,
Yeah.
warm referrals or warm introductions are always going to be better, but it's just like sales. And VCs are just sales because you're selling your company to them, right?
Yeah.
Direct investors, they're a bit more different. You kind of have to develop kind of like a relationship with them. You kind of have to talk to them, and it's more like a one-on-one thing versus like I'm just sending an email out to like 20 different VC companies. But yeah, it's slightly different in that way. But we are still looking to contact more VC companies or angels, if that's a possibility, and to fund our pre-seed. With the money, we're planning to spend a lot on customer acquisition and marketing, outreach, and also a lot on the product side of things, so we can fully launch a monetization model by the next time we raise a not pre not by the next time we raise like a seed
Series A or
like that.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, probably not Series A. That might be a little bit too fast, but maybe like another year. Yeah.
Steve,
But
yeah.
but
That makes
basically
sense
that's the
now
plan.
that you did it so early on, because I forgot you guys are young and you probably didn't have, all this money saved up.
Yeah, we don't like because
Tens of thousands to spend on a company right now.
I know, right? Like you know how you know the term like for a lot of startups. It's
Wait,
like
it
we're
just
not
cut
even
out. Wait, say it again.
yeah, ramen profitable, like the thing talked about by Paul Graham,
Yeah, I've heard of that.
founder, YC. He was saying about how a lot of startups to try to achieve to become self-sustainable and like the founders just survive on instant ramen. We can't even do that. So it's kind of like pre-seed is where we're pushing it forward because we do feel like that's very important. But also second, the indirect reason is that it really boosts our credibility and legitimacy in the business world
Uh,
because people still like the age reason I talked about at the start of the start of our call. Still, we are still high school students and university students. So unless we like raising funds is a great way to let people know like one we're serious with this. It's not just like a random student project that people build to get into Harvard, like a resume pattern. But two, that any partnerships, any like further investment opportunities, any collaboration, they're going to know that hey, we are a funded startup, we're not just like some random kids project. So yeah, in that sense.
And people overlook that aspect so much. They usually just think, oh no, the person's providing money, and it also is great because we get a person should be a strategic advisor on
Yeah.
our team. But also the fact that you become way more serious. Like we just
Mhm.
raised $100,000. Like this is actually way more serious than if we were to just be bootstrapping it
Totally.
because now
Yeah.
you get sort of taken serious, and people are actually going to have eyeballs on you because you just got a huge sum of money, and they're going to start looking at your traction and where you're spending this money. And there's even some PR events usually, like someone like Series or Cluely, when they usually get investments, people just start
They
talking
do
about
like
it.
giant marketing around it,
Yeah,
so
they
it makes
exactly.
like every time they get investment, that's like everybody in the world, which just out like yeah, I
You turn
totally
it
agree
into a
with that.
marketing
It's like
stunt.
uh it's a marketing stunt, totally. That's the word. It's like how people apply to YC. It's like they're not really looking for the money YC gives them, but more of
Publicity.
like, hey, we are a YC company. Yeah, it's just like that.
Yeah, I mean, now that you brought it up, I kind of want your thoughts on it. My personal take is I probably wouldn't want to go to YC even if I got accepted, just because I feel like I would lose control of my company. I've heard things where they just kind of take over.
I know they take 8% of your company. I don't know like if they want any like board rights or any like specific like board seats. If they do, then yeah, I think that would be an issue.
I
Um
know they make you post
if
about it and mention it in your bio and mention it on your
yeah, they do.
website. YC back, YC back. They make you mention it
They do
everywhere.
force that. I think it's really dependent on like your own company. I feel like that's why startup is like every startup is so different. I
Yeah,
feel like it really depends on it. Are you fine with the dilution? Are you fine with like your current cap table? Like do you know like if you like I know the saying. Sorry, I'm like stuttering a bit. I know the saying where it's like it's better to own 1% of something versus 100% of nothing, right? So it's kind
yeah.
of like which one do you prefer and where do you stop on that 1 to 100 scale? Yeah.
Yeah. It's again, it's a different founder to founder. It just depends how much you care or not. Because I mean, from my personal perspective, I guess really I wouldn't care just because in my eyes I'm going to be a serial entrepreneur. So this is not going to be the only company. I eventually want to get out and do
Totally.
something else. So it's not the end of the world, if they take it over or something goes wrong, things like that. In the back of my
Are you
mind, it's
thinking of
just
like starting you getting acquired? Is that your way?
that'll probably be the best route. Yeah, and I don't really want to sell it to one of the big guys like a LinkedIn or another big job platform. I kind of
Yeah,
want to
because
sell
if
it
that
to
happens, they kind of just kill the company. They like the only
yeah,
reason they buy it is because they don't want the competition. That's the reason.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't want to do it. I don't want to sell out. I want to make a strategic buyout. And make sure the company's still in good hands and can still move on. Because again, this is something that's incredibly helpful in yours too for students. It's not just a get rich quick scheme. This is something that can actually be
Yeah.
impactful for years to come. So
Totally.
I think
I mean,
that's the
wait. I was
difference.
curious if this is not like too sensitive to share. Do you guys have an evaluation yet? Like at the stage?
No,
No,
yeah,
not
that's the
yet.
thing.
Okay.
No, too new. Yeah, that's why I was so shocked when you said you already raised before you guys even launched too. Like that was crazy. I can't believe that. Oh, but
Yeah,
then I
because
realized it
like
makes sense.
yeah, when we raised, it was a really low, like
Some
I
really
think it was
close
like
family and
50.
friends.
Yeah, really close family friends. It was like 15K for 8%, which is like an extremely good deal in a startup.
That's robbery.
Yeah, like right now we're doing like, I mean, we were talking to private investors the other day, but we were like talking in the range of like 175 for like 10%. So
Yeah,
like if you
exactly.
invested at our 8% stage, would have been like a like 10x investment, 20x, right? It's like insane. No wait, yeah, 10x and no, like 20x investment, yeah,
20x. Yeah.
18x, something like that. But of course, but they're family and friends, so we gave them a really discounted rate, and we really just needed that initial capital to really buy things that we like a Google professional like account, buy
The
the
basic
emails, buy
stuff.
the domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like real like stuff that people like they're not costs to most people, but they are costs to us at that stage because we
To
didn't
get
have the money.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that
Mhm.
makes sense. What are the investors' thoughts about the fact that you guys give 8% for that?
Yeah, they asked about it and we were like and I just kind of explained the same thing I said here and they're like, okay, that's understandable. And also because it's friends and family, it kind of makes sense that you guys were really generous of the percent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They more so believe in the founder, the early family and friends, mom and dad type of people. Like they're long term, believe in you, believe in the mission. They're not so more so looking for a return. That's kind of what the perks of a family and friends round is. Uh,
Totally.
All right, we're coming up on 50 minutes, so I want to wrap it up, but I want to say one thing. Do you want to give advice to other students who want to start up? Where could they start? What is the best route? Do you think they should look to raising that early on? What are some tools to use? Just give some advice to these students trying to start something.
Okay. I believe raising is a double-edged sword. I think every entrepreneur said this, so I'm kind of just copying them, but I really do believe this. If you raise too early and dilute your own equity, it's not your company anymore. And if you make some mistake, like they're just gonna kick you out of it, right? At the end.
Yep.
In some extreme scenarios, yeah. But it's just that when you lose too much of your company, you don't feel like you want to work for it anymore. It's like you're building something for another person who's
Yeah.
piggybacking off, right? Yeah. And on the other hand, like I said, especially for younger founders, raising might be the best way to raise your legitimacy or to show other people that this is a serious venture. But it's really have to balance that. So I would just recommend anyone who's thinking of raising to think about that. Second thing is just really start quick as soon as you can. I am not happy with our current version of the app because that is a very, very old version and completely 180 to what we're designing right now that's being built as we speak. But there's a saying by I think it was a founder, but I forgot of which company, but he said that if you're happy with your MVP, like you started too late, or like if you're not happy, if you're mad at your MVP, that means like you launched at the right time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like always, as long as you have something that you can test, do it. It's like the first MVP. Just think of it as not as your company, but rather just something you throw out the market to see, what parts. It's like bait. Like what are the fishes biting onto? What does the fish like? What does it not like? And then you build your company based on that data. And I'm really happy we made that decision really quick right after we realized that the MVP there was a lot of things that people weren't attracted to develop this version and that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else is just that you have to really believe in yourself because it's your company, nobody else will, and that's mostly it. Because
What
for
about
me,
co-founders? What's your perspective
co-founders,
on
ooh,
that?
that's a good, yeah, that's a good. I think co-founders, try to find people that complement you, not in the
Yeah.
same area of expertise as you, because then you're going to have two people doing the same thing, which only makes it weird in one way. It's not a very optimized way of allocating founders' energy or resources or time. But second, sometimes there's going to be conflicts on like whether a person is doing as much as the other person. Because it's, for example, if two people are both doing marketing and only one person only doing like product dev or UI, because the other two doesn't know how to do it, then you're just gonna have a lot of times where the two are sometimes having conflicts. And so I was always say try to find co-founders that complement your skill, not the same as your skill, because in that sense, some of those might happen. But yeah, and lastly, I think this might be more important or like the most important thing about co-founders, just to find people you actually enjoy working with.
Basically agree with
that
them
you
a
would be
lot.
friends. Yeah, that you would be friends with them if you're not starting the business. So if you're willing to be friends with them if you're not starting a business, I feel like that would be a great co-founding match. And of course, matching each other's skill set.
I like that take. All right. Yeah, so that's gonna do it. Thank you so much. And where can they find you? Is it hen.app is the website?
Yes, if you go on www.hend.app, you can go to our website. If you specifically want to contact me on the website, if you go into the Our Team tab, you can actually contact all of our founders. We have our Instagram and our LinkedIn's on there. You can also find my email on my LinkedIn. So just go on the website.
All right. Perfect. Hen.app. All right. Thank you so much, Victor. It was great talking to you. You're probably one of my favorite guests so far. I'm not gonna lie.
Thanks, man.
All the best with you and your company, and we'll be in touch with everything. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on here. I mean, I love talking to and trying to sharing like my experience of this because maybe I ended off here. Startup is really building a startup is really lonely. It's a very lonely journey.
Gotta
So
find people
times
to
where you
talk
can
to.
kind of talk to, yeah, it's like I'm great to like have this connection with you, Michael, or we can talk about stuff like this and have this opportunity to talk with everyone that's watching. I'm grateful for this. I hope you guys learned something from this, and yeah, again, thank you for having me on here. It's an honor.
All right. Awesome. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, Victor.
All right, Michael. Thank you so much. See you.
Of course.